Hello one and all, this is Soulful Lordy, James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions. This time around, Resident Evil 4 the remake for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Resident Evil 4 the remake is a remake of the classic 2005 Resident Evil 4, a game that I played on the PlayStation 2 because I didn't have a GameCube. It is a game that is near and dear to the hearts of many Resident Evil players and gamers alike, and this remake attempts to recapture the magic that was found all those generations ago. And I will say, from the first few hours, it does that. And one of the main reasons for that is because of the gameplay implementations, the gameplay additions, the gameplay modifications that have been added to this version of the remake that weren't in the original Resident Evil 4. And one of the main things that you notice off the bat, especially when you go into the village, is the fact that you can now shoot and move at the same time. In the original game, you could move a lot better than you could in the first three Resident Evils, but you could not shoot at the same time. This ability to shoot and move at the same time opens up a world of gameplay options, mostly associated with the fact that you'll be able to dodge and evade attacks a lot easier than you could in the original game. Another big addition, and this is one of the things that I did not know about until seeing some videos of the chainsaw demo that came out before the game, and realizing that, oh, there's a parry system now implemented in the game. Now, if you have a knife, you are able to actually utilize a button, in the case of the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, the L1 button, to block, or if you hit it at the right time as you're about to be struck, actually parry attacks. And which was very surprising, that you could also cut off limbs as you parried attacks. The knife has a limited amount of durability, so actually using the parrying system, if you don't have one of the later knives or upgraded the knife, you will lose out on precious knife durability, which could be detrimental, especially if you get grabbed by one of the enemies that have transformed thanks to the Las Plagas infection. Enemies are just as aggressive as they were in the original game, but just like Leon himself, just like the player, they are a little bit more agile, a little bit more resourceful when it comes to movement and kind of cornering Leon. The AI is definitely a lot smarter than it was in the original game, even though in the original game they were very tough and they were very intelligent, shockingly so. The inventory system returns is pretty much the same as we would have expected from not only the original Resident Evil 4 but previous Resident Evil games. The quick switch option is very helpful. One of the things I remember talking about with the first impressions of Resident Evil 3 was the fact it felt like it was a little bit of a delay when it came to switching weapons. Resident Evil 4's remake does not have that delay whatsoever. That input delay does not feel existent at all when you're switching between weapons. Of course, the story is very simple. At the start, Leon is thrust into a rescue mission where he has to save the president's daughter from being kidnapped in this European village that has now become infected by this Las Plagas. They take a lot of damage. It will be one of those things where you will have to shoot guys in the legs and kneecap them and then kick them in the head, thanks to the melee system that is implemented. And then if you're not able to one-shot them or knock them down and kill them with the kick, knife them as fast as you can, because if they transform, if they had the Las Plagas infection that turns them into a tentacle monster, they become a lot faster, a lot stronger, and a lot deadlier. Technically, I've had a few graphical glitches here and there, some odd ones, especially early on in the game, that didn't necessarily hinder the gameplay. I think hit detection can be a little bit iffy when it comes to shooting, but in terms of the enemies actually hitting you, it's a pretty good window, and I feel that it's actually very player friendly. Overall, Resident Evil 4 the remake is a fantastic reimagining of the original game that I love like so many other people. I am excited to play more of it. It's just one of those things that they had so many games come out in the last few weeks and I haven't had the chance to really play as much as I want to. If you're a fan of the Resident Evil games, if you're a fan especially of Resident Evil 4, definitely pick this up. This is a great addition to the franchise, a great remake. And even if you're not a fan of the franchise, I say if you've never given Resident Evil a chance from the third-person perspective games, not the first person like 7 and 8, then pick this one up. I think this is a great example of what Resident Evil would become, but also what Resident Evil influence across the gaming genre, while also being a lot better from a gameplay perspective than its original iteration. So there you have it. This has been Soulful Lordy James Bullock, once again with another video game first impressions. Resident Evil 4 the Remake for the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Now, if you don't mind, I have to go and try to figure out how I'm going to escape a village now that has been not only overrun by Los Plagas regular villagers, but also a man with a decapitated cow's head as a helmet. And if I'm not careful while he's swinging his sledgehammer and cows are running all over the place, I'll have no choice but to say, oh lordy.